Good morning. It's Thursday, January 29th. Welcome to Accountlandia, where we talk with members of the Portland accounting community about experiences, resources, and advice for students and alumni at Portland Community College and beyond. My name is Cynthia Killingsworth. I'm an instructor at Portland Community College and the founder of Accountlandia. I'm delighted to be joined by Weihong Li, a former PCC accounting student, who is going to share how she successfully passed all three parts of the enrolled agent exam. To start off, for people who aren't familiar with enrolled agent certification, enrolled agents are formally referred to as, quote, America's tax experts. They are licensed by the IRS to prepare tax returns and represent taxpayers before the IRS and state tax agencies in tax audits and other issues, tax issues. And what's exciting to a lot of community college students is that there are no educational or degree requirements or experience requirements to become an enrolled agent. But there is a rigorous three-part exam, and the parts that Wei Hong will talk about, how she worked her way through each part. Part one is individual. Part two is business entities, and that will include Schedule Cs, corporations, partnerships. And then part three is representation, professional representation before the IRS, practices and procedures. On the account, if you want more information, on the Accountlandia newsletter, there's a link to enrolled agent certification on the news and ideas page. On the right-hand side, you'll see a link. And also on the Accountlandia website, under career planning, you'll see an enrolled agent page with a lot of information. So welcome, Wei Hong, and thank you for joining me today.
Hello, my name is Weihong. Nice to see you guys.
I appreciate you being here today. First of all, let's just start off with what brought you to Portland Community College. We always love hearing what's your PCC story and how did you like it?
Okay, Cynthia. Yeah, when I had some time several years ago, I considered taking college classes. I found PCC. There are many class choices, and at the time, course time was good for me. So I took an in-person classes first, and I like the PCC campus. It's close to my home. Yeah.
Great. You had prior accounting education and experience. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I studied at the University of Finance and Economics many years ago when I lived in China. My major was international accounting, and I got a college diploma.
Great. And did you work in accounting at all?
Later, I ran my own business, a small business, but I think learning accounting, I benefited from learning accounting, yeah, to run my own small business.
That's great. And there's a lot of people that do that. They take accounting just to be able to run their own small business. So that's great to hear how that worked for you. What made you interested in the enrolled agent certification?
I knew about enrolled agent certification when I took income tax class in at PCC in your class, Cynthia. Yeah.
Mhm.
I got tons of information about taxes and careers. For example, how to be a CPA and how to be a enrolled agent, EA. Um, by taking the class, I found my interest in learning tax law. I wanted to learn deeply. So EA certification would be a good choice for me. Also, to take EA C exams, there were no requirements on prior degrees or working hours. So that's great.
Yeah, it is really encouraging to a lot of people that a four-year degree may not be attainable right now or may not be of interest to people to know that there's other alternatives and ways that they could become certified and work in the accounting industry in taxation. So that's wonderful to hear. Just to clarify, which tax class did you take? So
Uh,
I understand when
yeah.
we're referring to
So
that.
an income tax class and in your class, yeah,
The
Cynthia.
the short one, the BA 256, and not the.
Yeah, 256, yes.
Yeah, I just wanted because some people are coming from taking the 80-hour class, the BA 290 course. So I just wanted to clarify that all this happened from
Oh,
even
yeah.
the
Yeah.
shorter course, the BA
Oh,
256. So that's wonderful. All right. So we mentioned earlier. So, first of all, before we get to how you prepared for each part, let's just jump to where do you take this test and what was the testing experience like just in general?
sure. The I scheduled and took tests by per metric. So usually 2 to 3 per metric testing center in each state. I chose Tacoma, Washington State,
Oh,
so which is about 2.5 hours to drive. That was the least driving hour from my home. I know there's one in Bend, Oregon too. Yes, I went to the testing center a half an hour before each test. I got my ID checked and put personal things in the locker. And then after a security check, I was permitted in the testing room. So each candidate has each own station in the big testing room like that.
okay. And it's all done on the computer and
Right, yeah, yeah,
graded
on
on
the
the computer.
computer to finish questions.
Did you get your results before you left the exam, or did you have?
Oh, yeah. Usually submitting the first 15 questions, there is this break you can take. So no more than 15 minutes break. And then the total 100 questions. After submitting all the tests, they either fail or pass. The information will appear on the screen, and so that's great to know the result immediately.
Yeah, that is really wonderful. In the old system, when we were taking them manually, we had to wait such long period of time to find out results for any tests. So that's wonderful to hear. All right, so the exam does have three parts that I mentioned. Part one, individual. Part two is business entities, and part three is the representation practice and procedures. So let's just talk a little bit about how you prepared for each part. So how did you prepare for the individual section and how did the exam go for you?
Okay, so when I finished the income tax class, I immediately prepared for the individual part exam by using certain materials, which can be attained online free for that part. Um, the certain materials are full of questions because our income tax class, 256, yeah, covered most the individual taxes. I thought to do questions was a good review and a compliment. Yeah.
Great. And you mentioned that you can find the materials online. I mentioned that you can go to our newsletter and you can find the enrolled agent link. There's a page that was created on Accountlandia for that. And you can also go to our website, and that will link everyone to the National Association of Enrolled Agents site. And that will link you to the Surgeon site for the exam materials. And as Weihong mentioned, part one materials are free, which is really generous, just getting people started. So she was referring to that in BA 256. She felt like we covered the concepts, but the surgeon materials really helped you practice and gain confidence and probably gain speed, right? And
Yeah,
answering
exactly.
questions.
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, great. So part two covers probably, I'm guessing, the Schedule C, and then it gets into partnership and corporation. You didn't have the opportunity to take a corporate or partnership income tax class because those are only offered at the university level, and you have to be pursuing a degree in most cases at universities, a bachelor's degree to get access to that. So that's often viewed as a challenge of how do you prepare for that outside of just doing the surgeon materials. So I'd love to hear how you prepared for this part of the exam. It was always the part that I wondered about the most for folks.
Oh, yeah. So just to recall my part one exam, because that was my first time to take C exams. So at that time, quite a few questions. So I think in a different way to test my understanding. Yeah, I tried my best in my part one that I recalled. So when preparing for the part two business part, actually I spent much longer time, for preparing this part. So I knew this part is so more difficult code than the other two. Um, but I continued use certain materials, doing questions and reading the reading the explanations on in each question. So I think that's important to read the everything. And I also click the link on the answer page to read more regulations, um, and did some research when I thought necessary. I think read more and reference to the codes and IRS publications would be helpful. I need a long more time to do that. Yeah. So after doing the questions and reading, I think I had a more clear and better understanding of the business taxes. So I did, yeah, that's the process. I revealed the business part. Mm.
It's really impressive because again, you didn't have traditional coursework as a foundation for that. So you were learning, it sounds like mainly from the surgeon materials, and you felt like that those prepared you fairly well. You had mentioned that you bought, I think, a corporate partnership textbook, and I'm wondering how much you felt like you needed that, or did you feel like the surgeon materials were the base of what you needed?
Yeah. So I think the one thing is for as accounting student, it's not so hard to understand the business and so investment. So just the with regulations on a different type of business, it's easy to mix up. So I took notes. I took notes to help me review everything. So if some students want to get a book, I think to choose a reliable resource, that book, to have an overall concept first, then do questions should be good. Should be good. Yeah.
Okay, great. Not to put you on the spot, do you have a recommendation for a book or?
Oh, that's the thing for me. I chose a book, but the book is for the mock test. Mainly it's for the mock tests.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So, but the book I don't think is so good. I found some errors on the book, so I have to yeah, think about the new addition. Yeah, the news because we know the tax law changed every year. So just please, yeah, be careful about that. Mm.
That's a really good point. I'm glad you mentioned that. People that maybe haven't taken a tax class or even have taken it but don't understand how much the tax law can change significantly. So between 2024 and 2025, we had a major tax bill that, it isn't changing the whole system, but it did change some important things that people have to be aware of. And if you walked into the exam without knowing those things, they're probably going to be tested pretty heavily in that first year. So thank you for mentioning that. I think that that would be really important. It would be really easy to just go buy something off the shelf at a
Yeah.
bookstore and think you're ready to go, and it may be several years old and out of date. So really important. Okay, so the last part was representation, practice, and procedures. And I have a question regarding that because I know we were visiting at a local CPA firm. You and I were talking about it, and there was an enrolled agent that was there talking with us, and he thought the last part was the hardest. So now that you've taken all three parts, do you think it was the hardest, and how did you prepare?
Oh, yeah, this is part three. So
Yeah.
I learned on the website that the part three is the easiest part of the C
Oh,
exam.
good.
Yeah, and because there are not many regulations or and codes to study, seems easy to understand. But for me, I knew nothing about IRS practice representation procedures before. And just still use certain materials to do questions. Um, Also, I read Circular 230 for several times. So reading Circular 230, I think is important because it's a principal regulation and so help me become familiar um, with the practice procedures before the IRS. Yeah, I read that book several times. Um, the part exam, this part exam I took, I recall, I felt the questions were diverse, and some of them really made me difficult to hesitate to choose the answer. Yeah, so I don't think that it's so easy to pass strongly. Yeah, not so easy.
Yeah, because maybe it isn't as clear as there's a number that's the right answer. It's more concepts, and those can be always a little bit more vague, I think, of what it means to represent or so on. Thank you for mentioning Circular 230. So that is put out by the IRS, and you can access that for free on their website, irs.gov. And that is, as someone who represented taxpayers before the IRS and also worked for the IRS as a revenue agent and a criminal investigator, I know how critical that circular is and how much hinges off of that. So, does not surprise me that that's the core of what you had to study and restudy for that part, and also that you have free access to that. So that's wonderful. What advice would you give other PCC students? Let's just focus on that, thinking of starting this journey.
Okay. If you want to take the EAC exams, so please dedicate your time and energy choosing a reliable course or books to study would be helpful, and make sure to know the overall topics, but not only work on the answer of the question. Do mock a test before the real test if you have some time, and also taking notes. Yeah, that's a very good tip. It really helps enhance your memory and understanding, which I've used in all three parts. Um, yeah, I know each one has their own learning habit. So I hope yeah, I hope you find it efficient way. So for studying for this journey, and good luck. Yeah.
Thank you. I there was something you said that really struck me, and that was to make sure that you're understanding the entire concept and not just getting to the right answer. And I think that's really important when it comes to this certification because you're not required to have job experience to become certified here. They want you to know these concepts by passing this exam. You are saying that you do understand the broader concept underlying these questions, and you're going to have to put them to practice in a job. So having that attitude about this exam, it isn't just about passing the exam, it's also you learning, especially when you weren't required to take other coursework to do this. This was your learning journey too. And I really appreciate that you said that because I think that that's especially important in this case for this certification. The other thing that I wanted to say is we mentioned Surgeon quite a bit. And I just want to say we don't have any special connection to Surgeon other than the
No.
National Association of Enrolled Agents has a partnership with them, and they have some special offerings on their website for their materials. They're embedded on their website. They have scholarships that will cover the course materials and the course fees that I think they're twice a year, I think, and you'll see that on my scholarship list on the Accountlandia newsletter. I have that as one of the scholarships that's on there. But there are a lot of other exam prep companies that I've heard really good things about from other accounting firms. So I'm not going to list all those, but just to explain why we mentioned this one over and over again is because of the partnership they have with the National Association of Enrolled Agents. All right. So love to hear, Weihong, I'd love to hear your future plans for your enrolled agent certification. In the shorter run, you mentioned Cache Oregon. So love to hear about that too. Thank you.
Yeah. So after passing the exams, I'm at the stage of application for EA certification. Now I'm a volunteer tax preparer with MFS Cache Oregon. I will do tax returns for low-income people. Yeah, I was an intern in Cache Oregon last year. I worked for whole tax season. Yeah, it has a great training team and provides a very good working environment for better study. So, to put my learning to practice, I think Cache Oregon is a great choice for my next step.
And are you interested in working in the tax profession down the road um, as a tax
Uh,
preparer?
yeah, I think that was a very good experience working as an tax preparer. So intake interview with clients and enter the data. So by like putting puzzles in different form. So really good practice. So I'll go there again and at the white side to do these things for the community and benefit from that for me too. Yeah.
Thank you for mentioning Cache Oregon. I just special place in my heart for Cache Oregon. It's part of the IRS VITA program, Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. They're one of the partners in that, and we're so lucky in the Portland metro area to have Cache Oregon. Have so many sites in our area and how they embrace college students. Not all pro volunteer programs do that. And Cache Oregon has just been so remarkable about that over the years, understanding their role in bringing people into understanding tax preparation and encouraging them in launching their careers. And I will say, I have several former students who now actually own their own CPA firms that started in Cache Oregon. And they said that experience gave them the confidence and understanding that this is what they wanted to do. So thank you for bringing that up. And we do have a podcast that I did 2 years ago about Cash Oregon. So you can look at that too for more information. And Cash Oregon is also, I think, on the career planning site on Accountlandia, the website, you'll find a page about Cash Oregon. All right. Weihong, thank you so much. It's just so wonderful. I know I connected with you at the beginning of this journey. You were saying what you wanted to do. And I know that there were so many students interested in this possibility because we talked about you don't need a bachelor's degree going into this. Maybe you'll choose to continue on and get a bachelor's degree, but you can get started in this career through the enrolled agent certification and just you willing to share that journey. I had no doubts that you were going to be successful in it, but also your grace and sharing how you got through this and paying it forward to other people is really appreciated. So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Cynthia, and I'm glad doing that. Yeah, thank you.
All right.